Hello. So today's breakdown is actually pretty simple. This is the back. So that's nice. This week, Monday, you have vocab 1 through 10. Tuesday, 11 through, or 1 through 20. And then Wednesday is your last list quiz ever. Or until we get to review. So, that is coming this week. You have a test on Thursday. Your test is actually AP questions. Quite unlike what you saw yesterday, it is all AP questions, getting back to the norm. So, let's do this and be done with it. So it's really not too bad today. So while we are going through these topics and stuff, and throughout APComp, I will be referring to the United States because we're the most comfortable talking about the United States. So as I'm teaching you APComp, I'm going to compare it to things that we have here in the United States. But is the United States a comparative country? No. If you ever write in your essay something about the United States, none of it will count. It is a complete waste of your time because U.S. is not part of AP Comparative. But by us continuing to talk about the U.S., it will make it easier to remember for your May 6th and May 8th test. All right. May 4th and May 6th. May 4th, May 6th. Political science is the first thing we're writing. Is the study of the struggle for power and the choices governments make. We're going to see and study this in two different ways. One of them will be qualitative. Q-U-A-L-I-T. Q-U-A-L-I-T-A-T-I-V-E. Qualitative, which parentheses feeling. And you're going to see this in speeches, interviews, and cartoons. When I say cartoons, do you think I'm talking about like Ben and Jerry? Or political cartoons? Tom and Jerry, whatever. Ben and Jerry has ice cream. Hey, you now know what is more important to me, and I stand by that decision. Quantitative. Q-U-A-N-T-A-T-I-V-E. Quantitative, parentheses, measurable. Voter turnout. And literacy rates are how we talk about those things. You need to know that surveys are how we collect data. And when we talk about surveys, you have to know the term random sample, which is when everyone has an equal opportunity to be selected for a sample. Period. Parentheses, difficult. This is why polls and surveys and stuff are sometimes wrong, because it's really hard to get a good collection of people. Your next one is correlation, which is a statistical measure that expresses the extent to which two variables are related. Period. It's difficult to prove causation, C-A-U-S-A-T-I-O-N, underline it, or that one thing causes another. Because in the real world, things occur for multiple reasons. Period. We also have something called empirical value added assertions, which are based on verifiable observations or evidence, period. Quote, 63% of Iranians, ... That's what a empirical value added assertion is. They're using statistics at you. The other one is called normative. Normative value added assertions are statements that make a value, underline value statement. So give your opinion. Period. Quote, China should continue. ... End. So saying that China should do something is a normative value added. Okay. Center it. Big comparative topics. That's our next topic. Big comparative topics. Underline. Okay, the first thing we're going to write down is politics. Politics. Put, quote, who gets what, when, where, and how. Okay, so when we talk about politics, it's essentially breaking down who gets what, when, where, and how. And we compare it we compare it using things like authority, T-H-O-R-I-T-Y. I'm going to put it in a box. Authority is the right to use power. So here in the United States, in the U.S., parentheses U.S., whoever won the election. Okay, so now that Joe Biden is our president for the last 3 years, he gets to implement what he wants. State is your next one. When we use the word state, it is a unified political entity that controls things inside its own boundaries. Period. Okay? So, in this class, we are not allowed to use the word countries. If you hear me use the word country, you need to call me out because you will not score any points if you use the word country. You cannot say country. In this class, we're supposed to use the word state. So if you hear me say countries, you need to call me out because if I hear you say countries, I'm going to call you out. We need to hold each other accountable because in AP World, they don't give a shit. So I use countries and state interchangeably, but here in APComp, it has to be state. It cannot be countries. I already said countries in the beginning of this class today, so I'm a flawed individual. We'll work on it. Okay, so state. Sovereignty is your next one. Sovereignty is the authority to rule because you can control inside your boundaries. Okay, so let's talk about it. Authority. Authority is the right to use power. So whoever is in charge, what type of authority do they have? State is what we call people who are in control of what they have. And because they are in control, it gives them sovereignty. Do you see how these are building on each other? It's going to get more and more confusing. So you have to know these terms because they're built on each other. Next, we have a government. Government is the individual who exercise authority for a state. So a government is the actual people making the laws, passing the laws, implementing the laws, protecting the laws. They all work for the government. A nation is a self-identified group that shares a common culture. Okay, now arrow, APComp is all, underlined, multinational states. Okay, and you're going to write parentheses, Cherokee, and Seminole. Okay, and I'll explain. Okay, so a nation is a group of people inside a government, inside a sovereign state, who identify as one group of people. We live in a multinational country or state, see, I told you. We live in a multinational state because there are large groups of people amongst us who identify as a different culture than the rest. For instance, we have the Cherokee Nation, who are all identify as Cherokee, or the Seminoles here in Tampa. They are a nation of people that follow the government of our sovereign state. Every country, except for maybe one or two, is multinational. Oh, shit, thank you. See, it's a problem. Pretty much every state in the world is a multinational state. Except Japan. Japan is a mono nation, which means they only have one culture. Legitimacy. Do people accept the authority of the government? Question mark. We do this in three ways. Traditional is long-standing. It's been around so long, everyone just does it because it's what is expected. The US and UK are both this way. Some countries gain legitimacy through charismatic leaders. This is going to be Mao. What country? China. Okay. And then you have rational, logical, which is constitution based. People follow it because that's what the Constitution says. So those are the three types of legitimacy: traditional, charismatic leadership, or rational, logical. All right, to the other side. Then we have political stability. which does the state maintain its legitimacy by controlling internal and external groups. Okay, an example of political stability is how safe a nation is and how predictable it is. In Dominican Republic right now, it is about almost a failed state. Okay, the Dominican Republic is almost a failed state because there's between 8 and 12 gangs trying to take over ownership of the Dominican Republic, which means people are getting shot all the time. And the political stability, are they able to control the internal problems in their country? No, it is wild. Like, people are getting killed. It is going to be a failed state probably within the year. Okay, that means the government is going to say, we're done. We cannot manage this. And that becomes a failed state, which will have huge impacts on everything else. Okay, how often do we get failed states? Not often. It hasn't been in the Western Hemisphere in a little bit. So it's a big deal. All right, then we have regime. A regime is where do states get their source of authority? So there are 3 ways we typically see it: democratic, so voting; authoritarian; forced. When you force someone to do something, it's forced what? Compliance. Or hybrid / transition. Somewhere in the middle. Okay. Then we have something called a unitary government, which all sovereignty is centralized in the national government. UK, China, and Iran. You need to know when you talk about unitary government, de-evolution, underline it, central government gives power to local government to address regional concerns. And what is the country that does this? UK. All right, centered political institutions. I'm going to put it in a box. First one is a constitution. Constitution is a document that describes how the government is organized and what power it has, period. Underneath that, though, you need to know the term rule of law, underline it, which is which means formal rules are followed by everyone. And you're going to see that in the UK and US. So if it's only the UK, what about Iran, China, Russia, Nigeria? Do they all follow the rule of law? No, they don't. Which means some rules not everyone has to follow. Blows my mind. Here we go. Presidential system is the chief executive is chosen in a separate election from legislatures. You're going to see this in Mexico, US, and Nigeria. Underneath it, you're going to write checks, put it in a box. Legislatures can impeach, and cabinet needs to be approved. Next is parliamentary system. It is a fusion of executive and legislative branches. Period. The chief executive is selected by the legislature. And we only see this in the UK. Then we have a semi-presidential. System, which it has both a president and prime minister, and you're going to see this in Iran, but you still need to know it's a theocracy, so I'm going to write theocracy next to it, and Russia. We have a head of state, which is ceremonial leader. Parentheses, outward facing, which means other countries are interacting with them. Heads of government, which is your chief executive, which means inward facing. You also have unicameral, which means one house legislature. It is efficient with a simple majority. And that is China and Iran. Then you have bicameral. I learned this last night. I know what bicameral is, but I learned something, and I'll tell you what it is. It's two houses. I knew that. But we have something called asymmetric, ASYMETRIC, which I'm going to put in a box, because if I don't know it, you didn't know it. Asymmetric is UK and Russia, which means upper house can only delay. What's the point of having it then? Anyway, your next one is symmetric, SYMMETRIC, SMMETRIC, symmetric, which means both houses pass legislation. And it is US, Mexico, and Nigeria. Whew. All right, the backside's really not bad. Are we having fun yet? Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. All right. First thing is judiciary. I don't need you seeing judiciary because I spelled it wrong and then tried to fix it and then I made it worse. So here we are. Judiciary is independent. Independent judiciaries can check the executive. You can write straight through. I don't care because we're not going to use the whole thing. I'm just going to do half because I think it looks nicer. And use judicial review. Or rule something unconstitutional. Period. No judicial review is China. UK, which I think is fascinating, but they have a thing called non-compliant, which we'll talk to when we get to it. Non-compliant. And Iran. And then we have has judicial review. Which is Mexico, Nigeria, and Russia. You have something called common law, which it puts heavy significance on prior judicial decisions, period. UK and Nigeria, but next to Nigeria you need to write South because the South is the only one that follows it. Then you have something called code law. It applies the law as written to judicial reasoning. We're going to see this in China, Mexico, and Russia. And then we have something called Sharia law, which is Islamic law, Islamic-based law, which is Iran and Nigeria north, because south is common law. All right, last section, bureaucrats. Bureaucrats are unelected officials who carry out laws by writing regulations, enforcing rules, and assigning fines, period. There are two of them. First one is called a meritocracy, meritocracy, a meritocracy, is when people earn their position in the bureaucracy because they are the most qualified. Period. Put a star, write ideal, put another star. This is where we're going to see it in UK and Mexico. Next one is the opposite, parentheses, opposite of meritocracy, meritocracy, parentheses, which is called patron client system, which are government positions are given only to people who are loyal. We're going to see this in China, parentheses, NOMENKLATURA. We're going to see this in Iran, parentheses, supreme leader. If he likes you, everything is good. End parentheses. Nigeria, parentheses, something called federal character, which we'll get to. And Russia, parentheses, SILOVIKI, which is more specific. And that's it. How much time do I have left? 7 minutes. Nice. Hold on.